Hello, I'm Matthew from Ludovox, and today I'm going to give you an overview of Railroad Revolution. So this is a management game for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, and it plays for around, well, between 45 minutes to 90 minutes tops. So in this game, what you're trying to do is to colonize the United States of America, because you've got the east part and you want to expand your company to the west because you are a railroad company. That's what you try to do. And you also try to make the best deals with the telegraph, the West Union telegraph. So the way the game plays is that you need to get the most victory points, and the victory points are awarded by telegraph stations that you lay out there, are awarded by stations that you put in the cities, in the different cities that are in the US, and also by putting rails on the railroads and connecting the furthest cities here that we have. So the game flow is very simple. What you do on your turn is basically take a worker, place it on one of your actions because you have a personal board. So you place it on the action and perform the action. But there is more to it than just that. So the workers start white, but they can be promoted and have different powers. So some powers are dedicated to gaining more money, some other gaining more victory points, or, well, trying to get more victory points. Some others will help you remove your counters, so houses and rails faster, and other ones will give you different benefits. So they are all very different, but the main thing is that when you trigger an action, you perform it, and then you have a side action, which is dependent on the action that you've done before, and also on the color of your worker. You can always promote your worker. If it's white or otherwise, you can promote it, change its color. But you can also, if it's colored, you can trigger an action. For example, if I had a purple worker, I would trade and then move on these tracks. So I would move like so on these tracks, which are the victory points tracks, basically. So what happens is that when I've done that, it's the other player's turn. What happens with these actions is basically I'm going to remove the resources that are there and place them on the board. So I can obviously place stations in cities that are connected to my railroad, but if I wanted to connect, for example, Chicago, I would have to place rails with a second action. So I would, for example, place rails and pay for difficult terrain and for the rails themselves. And then if I place a station in a city and that I'm the first player there, I get a bonus. And anyway, I get some special bonus for having a station there, which is this one. But the first player has an added bonus. Same goes with the telegraph office, which is the third action. If I am the first one, I take a few telegraph shares, so that are indicated here. And these shares will allow me to make deals with prominent businessmen here. So the deals are made when some deal symbol is triggered. And it can happen by laying out rails here, there, and there, and there, but also by just putting a telegraph station here or here. And then if you trigger a deal at the end of your turn, you're going to look at the biggest tile, the tile that is topmost on the stack of deals. And you have 2 deals, basically. And you can choose to perform one or the other, or both if you want, or none. And then every other player will have the choice of triggering 1 deal. And those deals, they are not about money. They are about selling the shares of the telegraph office. And this is why it's crucial to have some of them if you want to go in that avenue. And they give you extra meeples, they allow you to flip trains, which I'm going to explain in a moment, to lay out stations for free, that kind of bonus action that everyone wants to have. So as I mentioned, you can have trains, and the train that you can have, they are worth victory points. So for example, this train is worth 8 victory points, and if you perform the side action or the effect flip a train, you get to have its bonus here. So it gives you $600, which is very nice because you need dollars to spend. So you're going to flip it, and then it's worth no victory points, and you cannot perform the action. So you need to perform the flip action again to flip the train and be able to perform the action again if you don't want to waste your 8 points. Because if your train is not on the right side at the end of the game, you don't have the 8 victory points. So your workers are placed, remain on the actions, and once you have performed actions with all of your workers that you cannot place any worker, you just take them back and you start anew. You also have another source of victory points, which are the objective tiles. So basically, they represent the progress of your company. You want to promote people, you want to fulfill certain goals. If you do so, so for example, if I promote and if I assign an orange worker to this one, and that I build two rails on even terrain, I get to choose a better objective instead, and I have 18 victory points. And then I have a new objective, which is a bit different, that's worth more victory points if I meet the goals, and then I can have up to 42 victory points if I manage to get the best ones. So the game, yeah, I can also trade. So I told you about the 3 main actions. We can also trade, which is the 4th action, and trading is very simple. I'm going to sell my resources, the leftmost resource, so it can be either a rail or a station, and I just gain money according to the sum that's here. So the game ends when a player has depleted all of its stock that's left of the company logo. So if I am in this situation, I would end the game. We would still take a turn to make sure that everyone has played the same number of turns, and then the game would end. And we count victory points. So you get victory points for trains that are flipped up, for the goals that we've met, the objectives. We have victory points for the telegraph stations that are connected. So for example, in this case, I get 8 victory points for making the link here, but also I get victory points for having telegraph stations per se. And then we gain victory points according to this track and the 3 main objectives. So telegraph stations, and also connecting the westmost cities. So moving up this track is very important because it's going to multiply your score. So for example, if you start here at 0, it means that every telegraph station will be worth 0 victory points. If you are on the 9 on the topmost, it means that every telegraph station is going to be worth 9 points, which is super important. So you add up the scores, you just write them on the sheet, and the one with the biggest score wins. That's basically it, guys. You know almost everything there is to know about Railroad Revolution, so have fun and see you on the box.